Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and we're going to learn a bit about Sentinel with Terraform. I'm not going to say I'm amazing at it, but we are going to stumble our way through and see what we can accomplish. We know we can download Sentinel Mocks, and there's also the ability to set policy sets. And I do know that there are a bunch of pre-made Sentinel policies. So we go Sentinel policies here, Terraform, and we go examples. There we are, probably here. There are a bunch of ones that we can go in here. So I'm thinking that there's something that we can do here, but we'll have to figure our way through here because I actually haven't ran any policies myself. So we have these two environments. I'm not using dev anymore. I'm done with this. I'm going to go ahead and destroy that. And we're going to go down to Terraform destroy. I'm pretty sure I don't have any running infrastructure. Actually, I'm going to double check by going to the overview. Everything has been destroyed. And so I'll go back over here and we're going to destroy this. I'm going to type in VCS Terraform dev. Great. And if we go into this workplace or workspace, nothing is provisioned right now. So I want to get everything running again because last time we ran a destroy. So I think that if we want to get this working, it should be pretty easy. I'm going to go back to our workflows file here, and we're just going to revert some changes. So I'm going to go back and change this to name. And I'm just going to go, whoops, we're going to go into our 120 directory here, and we're going to go git checkout main. And that actually might just revert those changes there. I don't think anything really changed much other than this part here. And so what I'm going to do is just go make a minor change. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe a space. Git add all. Whoops. Git commit -m. Changes. Git push. We'll have to do a git pull here. Git push. Sorry, git push. And so what I want to see here is a trigger for the run. There we go. And I'll see you here in a bit when it's provisioned, okay? All right, so after a short little wait there, it looks like our branches ran. So I think our resources are provisioned. It's cool. We actually have cost estimation. I didn't have to do anything to turn that on. We already have it. Notice that it's giving us an hourly of 0.12 cents. The monthly is going to be $8 and 35 cents there. If there was more resources there, we would obviously get that. I assume that it would show up here in the top right corner. So we're not really interested in the provisioned infrastructure, but more so looking at these Sentinel Mocks. So I'm going to go ahead and download them there, and that's going to download as a zip or an archive of some sorts. And so what I can do here is just unzip it. So I'm just going to make a new folder here, and we'll just call these Sentinel Mocks. Okay, I'm just going to open up the zip. And so here's all the stuff in here. So we have a variety of different files. I think some of them might be redundant. I'm not sure what we have to do with them, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab these and drag them into the folder here. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a new section in my folder here. Whoops. Just give me a second here. We'll just open up the Explorer to anything. Yeah, we have a folder right here. Because what I want to do is just drop those files in so we can just see them in VS Code, the contents of them. There we go. And so now I'm just going to go down to here and we'll take a look. So we have Sentinel HCL. All right, and so that's just defining a bunch of mocks. We have this Sentinel file here. So I was hoping when we open this that we'd be able to figure out what to do with this, and I have no idea. So you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of reading, and I'm going to come back to you after I've finished reading this, okay? All right, so spending a little bit of time watching some stuff. So I was just going through the deep dive of Sentinel here and just going through the documentation. And as far as I understand it, it looks like that you write policies, and then you can also write tests for your policies to assert that your policies are doing what you expect them to do. And I guess those Sentinel Mocks are written in a form of HCL, but it is a little bit confusing because you get this folder with a bunch of stuff in it. and it can be either written as JSON or like this HTML-like format. But as far as I can tell, it's just saying what it's done is it's generated out the current state of exactly what your infrastructure is, and I think that it's going to check to see is it exactly what you expect it to be. So I don't know if Mocks is that very useful and might be a little bit too much for this particular course. So I'm just going to say let's just kind of ignore Mocks because they're just a little bit too difficult and out of scope here. Let's focus on trying to get a policy implemented. So I'm going to go back over here, and what I'm going to do is I know that if I go to settings, I mean, I've seen it before. I just can't remember if it's under a workspace. No, I think it's at the organization level. So we're going to go to the settings here, and there we have our policies. So here we can create new policies. So managing individual policies, Terraform is deprecated. Policy sets now supports VCS integration with direct API uploads. This provides a streamlined policy management experience policies, which includes, okay, so this is the old way of doing it. And so we'll go here and create a new policy set. So connect a new policy set. Okay, so I guess what we have to do, oh boy, this is a lot different than I thought it was going to be. So I thought it was just like, we're going to go here and create it and then dump our code in, which apparently that's what it is. But it seems like we need to associate with the policy set. So just give me a moment because I do want to show you the most up-to-date way to do this. I'll be back in a second, all right? All right, so doing a little bit of reading here, it looks like what we have to do is create ourselves a sentinel.hcl file, and this is going to say what policies we want to enforce. So I assume this is basically the policy set as a file, and here we specify the policies that we care about. And I actually just want to go back to the files we were looking at earlier because we saw this HCL file, so I guess this would technically be a policy set. Is that what we would call that here? But notice it says mocks, so these aren't policies per se. These are just grouping mocks. But in any case, I think we'll have to create this file. So what I'm going to try to do, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll just stumble our way through here because it's the best way to learn, is we're going to create ourselves our own Sentinel file here. So we're going to say sentinel.hcl. And we're going to have to define ourselves a policy. This isn't going to be the one that we're going to use, but I'm just going to grab it here. Notice there are different enforcement levels, so I don't really care what we put in. I just want to see that we can successfully get anything working here. And I'm going to go back to the examples, if we can go find that there. So Sentinel policy examples, and let's just go take one of those and see what we can do with it, okay? So if we scroll on down, disallow 000 CIDR block in the security group. That seems like something that would be pretty relevant. Restrict instance type of EC2 instance. That could be something as well that we could do. So, you know, I just have to decide what it is we want to do here. Restrict owners. So there's a few that are good here. Let's take a look at this one because I feel like this might be very simple. So yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take this policy here. So I wonder if I could just go download this file here. There's probably like a download button. Well, I can't find it, so we'll just, or maybe it's up here? No, okay. We'll just create this by hand here. So I'm gonna go copy, and it looks like we can just drop it in here. So I'm just gonna go new file here, and put that there, and we'll just go to raw. And we will go ahead and drop that on in there. So I wish I had like Sentinel highlighting. I don't know if there is such a one for VS Code. If there is, it'd be really nice. So we would type in Sentinel. Yes, we do. This one has more downloads, so we'll go with that one. No rating as of yet. Looks like it works, so let's go give them a 5-star. I think that's only fair because no one's done that yet. Might be a bit too hard to... I've never written a review before, but we'll go here and say, works as expected. Thank you for this extension. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back over to here. And so here we have some kinds. Now, we're running a T2 micro, I believe. So this policy should cause it to fail, and that's exactly what we want. But I'm just going to go look up and down to see if it's all correct. It looks good to me. The only thing we'll have to change over here is the name. So I'm just going to clear this out, and we'll say restrict EC2 instance type. We'll save that hard mandatory sounds really good to me. Probably have to spell it right for it to work. RES, yeah, strict. Okay, great. And so what I'll do is just copy this up here. Okay, and so we have our Sentinel HCL file, and it's referencing a local file. Now the question is, you know, can we use the same repository? I assume we would be able to for our policy set, but it almost seems like it might encourage you to have your policies separate from your repository that you're testing. And that might be really good because let's say you have multiple workspaces or environments and they all require the same policy set. You wouldn't want to have them in your code base like that. But for the purposes of this, we're just going to keep it simple. I'm going to go ahead and open up terminal here, and we're going to commit these changes to our repository. And this will end up triggering a deploy, even though we don't necessarily want that to happen, but there's no way around that. So git, well, I suppose we could just cancel it out, but or not have the auto apply, but I don't feel like changing that. So we'll do git status here. We'll go git add all, git commit -m simple policy here. Git push. Okay. And so that's being pushed to our repository. That's going to trigger a deploy, and we don't care. I assume that it won't pick up the policy because we have to connect the policy set. So apparently you can use the API to upload your policy set, which is kind of cool. I suppose we could have done that, but well, too late. We probably should use VCS anyway, you know what I mean? So we'll go to GitHub here, and we will find our Terraform repository, which is here. You know, policy, well, we should probably name this, right? So we policy to enforce instance type. I don't know if we need a description. I guess we'll find out in a second here. I guess we could have also put the policy in a subdirectory there. That might have been okay to do. It's going to default to the main branch, which is fine. Policies enforced on all workspaces or policies enforced on selected workspaces. And we only have one, but that's what we'll do down here. So we'll say update. The name is invalid. Oh, it has to be like a proper name. So restrict EC2. Now again, this is a policy set, so you could just say like, you know, basic server policy set. That'd probably be better. And then you probably want a list to say what it does. Restricts EC2 instances, instance type. Okay, and we'll go down here and create that policy set. And that looks like we're in good shape. So we applied it. Now, will it actually happen on this run? Because it's already running, I believe. We go into this workspace. I like to say workplace. It's workspace. And we go over here. This is already planned and finished. So what I want to do is just trigger another deploy here. So there's nothing changed. So I'm not sure what we do here. I guess what we could do, and actually this is something that I don't know, but like how would you trigger a replace on here? Because if we were doing, let's go to plan and see what happens. I wonder if we could do that in the plan here. Reasons for trigger, do refresh only, plan. Because one thing I was thinking about is like, imagine I wanted to replace an element. You can do that -replace, but I don't know how you do that through VCS. But anyway, what I'm going to do is just go change anything in our code. So it could just be a space. It doesn't really matter. Git add plus, git commit, trigger change. And we just want to observe the policy working, okay? So I'm just going to open this up here. I'm not sure if it's going to show up in the plan section or the apply section, so we'll just wait here to see the plan generate out. And so the plan finished. We don't see any Sentinel being applied there. Apply will not run. Let's expand that there. This looks fine. I guess technically we didn't change anything, so that probably is not very helpful. So what I'm going to do is go and change a variable because maybe that's what's going to help here. So we have a micro here, which is fine. We're just going to change this over to nano. That makes sense why it didn't do it. So we'll go back over to runs, and I'm going to start a plan. So change EC2 instance type. We'll say start plan. Okay, so we have one change, which is fine. Okay, so that part passed. It's going to go to cost estimation. That passed. It's going to apply it. Because remember, we have auto approve on the server, so it's not even going to ask us to confirm it. And so I want to see if that policy is in place. While it's running, I'm just going to go review our policy here, just to make sure it's not like the opposite, saying like you cannot have these. So include now allowed EC2 instance type. So it's small, medium, or large. So it really should quit out on this one here. But it seems like it's working. Like it's not picking up the policy. But I'll see you here back in a bit. Okay. All right, so I didn't see the policy trigger there, so I'm going to go back to policy sets, and notice here it says 0 workspaces, which is unusual because I definitely selected one, but maybe I didn't click through or hit add. So I'm going to go down here and click this one again, and maybe I didn't hit this button here. Okay, and now I'll probably have to hit update policy set. Before we do, I just want to read about this. These parameters are passed to Sentinel runtime when performing policy checks. So I guess that'd be like a way where you'd have a generic policy, and then you could kind of put parameters in. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go back here and double check to make sure that we have a workspace set. And so what we'll do is just change the variable again. So we will go to our variables here, and I'm going to go change this back to a micro. And so I think this time we are going to have better success. Okay, so we'll hit save. We'll go back up to runs. We'll go and start a new plan, change instance type again here. And we will save that plan. And so that plan is now running. I will see you back here in a bit when we see that Sentinel policy. I don't know when it triggers, so I'll see you back here in a bit. All right, welcome back. So after our cost estimation, it did a policy check, and you can see that it failed. And here the error says, import TF plans function is not available. So I'm not sure why that's happening. So I think that, our set failed, but not for the reason we wanted to. So I'm going to go investigate this, and I'll be back in a moment, okay? All right, so what I've done here is I've gone and looked up like how to create a policy set, and HashiCorp Learn has this example project here. And if we go into its GitHub project and I go here, you're going to notice that it's like this apparently does basically the same thing: restrict AWS instance type and apparently tag as well. But it doesn't have the TF functions, the TF plan functions here. So maybe we don't need that function in there, and maybe the example is just out of date at this time. So import common functions for Sentinel. Okay, but this one doesn't have it. It does have it for mocks, right? So maybe we just need to kind of like walk through this really quickly and see how we can fix this. So the policy uses the Sentinel TF2 plan import to require that all EC2 instances have instance types planned on the allowed list. But I don't see that import there. Okay, and it is in here. So I guess what we'll do is just grab this one. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just delete this one out here. Again, this isn't working. I don't know if this would work with that one, so I'm going to take it out. This is pretty clear what this does, so we'll just have that allowed types. It's interesting, like here it's underscore, and then here it's like title case. There's some inconsistencies there. So they have allowed types as well. And I'm just seeing if there's like find resources in here. So allow types, rule to enforce the name tag. So I don't care about that. Rule to restrict the instance type. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one here, and let's just take a look at the differences here. Okay, so instance type allowed rule all EC2 instances as that instance change after instance type allowed type. So this is way, way different. So, I mean, I fully don't understand this, but I do know that this one will probably work. So I'm going to go down here. We have count violations. I'm not really worried about that. And the rule's different. Like, if I was really serious about this, I'm sure I could, you know, figure out the logic here. But again, this is just for the purposes of us learning, so we don't have to go too crazy here. Now, this says instance type allowed and mandatory instance tags. We're not dealing with tags here, so I'm just going to say this. Okay, and so I think this will produce what we want. So allows those types. I don't know if it had this in here. Get all instance types from the module. I think we didn't put this in here, so this might be kind of the equivalent. EC2 instances, filter, TF plan, resource changes. Okay. Contains a create or an update. Okay. I mean, this isn't bad. We technically have a name set, so you know what? I'm just going to grab this whole thing because then we're just going to have a much easier time. We don't have to worry about it, but it was nice to walk through that file very quickly because the name tag is set in our project A because we can see that it's the server name. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and add this to our repository here. And the great thing is that since it's the VS Code or it's in the same version control system, I would think that it would update in time. So what we'll do is just do git add all, git commit -m, fix the policy, git push. Okay, and we'll go back over here. And we will see if the policy check happens, and when it does happen, it's actually erroring out because we're not using the right instance size, right? That's what we want to see. A little bit of trial and error, it's not a big deal. I also read, like over here, that the Sentinel file for HCL only contains module and policies, but then we saw a Sentinel file, or the HCL file, that clearly had mocks in it, so I mean, maybe it's just only used locally, maybe it's not intended for production. So we'll go down here, TF plan. So it didn't pick it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to my policy set, and maybe it's just like the order of how this happened. So see, this says it was updated last 5 minutes ago. Updated it a minute ago. So this could just be like a race case where, you know, this ran before the other one. So I'm going to try to execute this again. Start a new plan, trigger plan. And we'll see if that works now because, again, this said literally updated a minute ago, so maybe it didn't pick it up. So you can see why it would also be good to have your policy set in a separate repo, because if you're deploying this, you don't want to keep triggering your deploys. So I think probably that's what, you know, we should have done. I mean, it's a lot extra work, but, you know, this way you kind of understand why. So waiting on that plan run. I really don't care about cost estimation. I mean, you could make a policy to check based on that. I'm assuming we can just turn that off if we wanted to. And we'll go over to cost estimation here. Yeah, we could just disable it. But the thing here is that it said our policy passed. So we'll go here. So the result means that all Sentinel policies passed. So restrict the instance type. So description, main rule that requires other rules to be true. Rule to enforce name tag is on all instances. That's true. Rule to restrict the instance type. So maybe we don't understand. Maybe this works in the opposite way. Oh, the T2 micro's here. Okay. So I just want to see it fail. So what we'll do is go back up to our variables here. And we'll go to our instance type. And we'll just change this to nano. And we'll save that. We'll go back over here to our runs. Oh, this is still running the old one here. That's fine. We can just queue up another one here. So we can just say start a new plan, new instance type. Okay, and if we go back over to here, the last one wouldn't have done anything because the infrastructure would have been the same. So the previous one we just did here, right? It would just been like, oh no, it's still trying to apply it. So I guess there is a change. Maybe we changed the instance type last time. I don't know. So anyway, I'll see you back here when this is completely done, okay? All right, great. So we got an error. If we go into our instance type here, right? And we look at it, we can see that it failed because it wasn't the right type. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting. So the other thing I would say that we could do is also kind of check out mocks now, because I kind of feel like I have a better grasp on it now that we have a test running. So just thinking straight about it, a mock really is a representation of the state of infrastructure at the time of. So if we go back to our runs and we go to a successful run, like the trigger plan here, and this one was successful, we could go to the plans here and then download these mock files. So we do have the ones from prior, and I think those are totally fine and valid to use. So what if what we do is go back to our project over here, and we have the mock files over here, but really where they need to be is within the workflow directory, because looking at the documentation here, what it's saying is that you get all these things, and this basically represents the state of those mock files. And then you need to make a test folder and then a test data folder. And then there's going to be something based on the name of the mock file. So what we'll do is we'll go up to this folder here, and we'll say new folder, test. And then we'll make another new folder here, test data. Are those folders or files? I think those are files. So we'll delete that. It's just out of habit to click the file there. So we'll say new folder. So we'll say test. And then we'll say another new folder there, test data. Okay. And so we have our Sentinel file here. So we need to have, I think, a similarly named one here. So if we go back over here, this is foo or whatever. So I think we need to have a folder in here, because it's all based on convention, and it's pretty, not that hard to figure out. I don't even have to read the docs to know that. We'll just put that in here, take out the word Sentinel. And then I would assume that we need a file in here. What's it called? Like there's pass and fail. So I'm going to just do a pass. File new. Pass.hcl. Okay, and then we have our test data. So that was what we had down below here. So I need to go grab that information. I'm just looking for a folder where I might already have open here. If I don't, that's fine. We'll just go ahead down below and just right click and reveal an explorer. So we'll go over here, and I need to move all these over. So I just copy them over, and we're going to go over to our Terraform workflow here. And I'm going to go here and paste that data in. I don't know if these contain any kind of sensitive data, because if they're based on the TF state file, these might be something you don't want to share. That might be a security vulnerability, I don't know, but I definitely won't have these available when I put this repository up for free. So we have those files in the right place. And we have all this stuff here. So I think that, like you notice it's not there. So I'm assuming that we need to open up this file and copy into our main HCL file. So we'll go down below here, and then I think it's just a matter of copying all this stuff, right? We'll say cut. And then we'll go to back up to here, I suppose, into our file. It's getting a little bit confusing with all this stuff, eh? Okay, so that's in the right place. Our test data is there. Good. Here we are. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just go down here and paste that in. Okay, and so we didn't write any kind of pass. Test data, test. So that's something we will need here. I'm not sure what we'll get, so we'll just scroll down here so we can find the contents of a pass.hcl. It's not showing me anything here, so just give me a moment. I'm going to see what we have to do for this test, okay? All right, so a little bit of Googling. It looks like this one's on the same track here. So since we probably copied the mock data from this one, or somewhere through here, we can probably just go grab this. So this is pretty much what our pass file will look like. So we'll go ahead and grab this here. I don't know if we really need a fail to write a failing test. I don't really care about that. I just want to see anything pass here. We'll paste that in here. We do have to be sure that we are accessing our data correctly. So if we are in test, it's going to go up one directory to the Terraform directory. But wouldn't it have to then cd into test? So I don't think that source path is correct. Just going to double check that here. They do have an example repository, so let's take a look here at what we have. Yeah, it's kind of odd. So I think that if this is relevant, it needs to go to test data. Because how else would it get there? Okay. So we'll do that. So test rules main equals true. Okay, so that's a pretty simple test. And so I think the way we run tests is there's like a Sentinel test thing here. I don't know if we have Sentinel installed. I don't think so. So there's no Sentinel command. So I guess that's something we're gonna have to install. Sentinel CLI Terraform. Okay, we'll go over here. We're on technically Linux, even though we're on Windows, we're on Linux. So here it's just saying download it and then put it in the correct path. So install, so we'll get the appropriate package here. And we are technically on Linux. And I guess we are 64-bit. It's going to download here. Scroll up. Oh, it is already downloading. Okay, great. And so I'm just going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to open it up here. So there it is. And so I need to get it into the user local bin here. So I'm just going to first get it in anywhere. So because I'm just working here, I'm just going to go open this up. So reveal in the Explorer. Okay. And this is not where I want it to be. I'm just dropping it here for the time being. Technically, we could run it from there. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. So I'm just going to go back to my VS Code here. And I'm going to just type Sentinel. Sentinel. It is there, right? Yep, it's there. I'm not sure if it's executable, but I'm just going to type in Sentinel here. Sentinel test. Okay, so it doesn't think it's a command. So maybe I have to do like chmod u plus x. That makes it executable on Linux. Sentinel command not found. Well, heck, I'm right there. Maybe I have to put a period / like that. Okay, there we go. So, I mean, of course, you don't want to leave it in here. And this would also end up in a repository. So this would go to like your user local bin probably. So I'm going to say like move Sentinel to user local bin. And so now I should just be able to type Sentinel. It should get picked up. It does, great. So here I can do test. And down below it says open test, no such file or directory. So it can't find the mock data. Notice that it's going into the test data, so that is no good for us. We did say to go up a directory, so maybe if I go up back one more like this. Would that work? No. Let's go put back in what they actually had there, which I have a hard time believing that would be correct. So open mock, okay, so that's definitely not right. Okay, and so personally, I just want this to work, so I'm just going to cheat. This is absolutely what you should not do, but you know, like I don't want to be fiddling around with paths all day here. And so I'm just going to give it an absolute path and see if that fixes our problem. Okay, and this will just say test data here. So that should absolutely work. I'm just going to expand this here. This is mock TF plan. Oh, but it says pass in the name. Okay, so the problem isn't that. It's the fact that the mock data isn't named. It's because the thing is you could download two different mocks, right? So you could have a state that is successful and failed, and you'd probably want to rename them to say passed or failed. So we don't necessarily have that. So I think my original thing was correct, where we had this test data. And so here we just have to make sure we match the name. So mock tf v2 is fine here. Okay. Again, I don't understand the difference between all these files. I definitely saw in the documentation they explain them all. So, you know, that might be something we want to read through here. So this is looking a little bit better. So mock tf plan hyphen version 2 Sentinel. So that is correct. But the direct, it doesn't like the direct, it's going in that test again. So again, I'm going to just go back up one more layer here. Okay. There we go. And it's passing. So, yeah, so that's all it takes to do that. Again, I think if we were to commit this to our code, I don't think that these run. So we can go like, so we can just go add it and see what happens. So we'll say git add, git commit -m validation. And again, I don't know if this mock data should be allowed to be committed into the repository because we have a TF state file here, right? Okay, I don't know, but I'm going to just do a push here to see what happens. But again, I really think that we're probably not supposed to have it in there. So what we'll do is go back to our Terraform IO, sign in, and we'll just see what happens here. I mean, we don't expect the this to pass because it's still using the wrong instance type, but I was just curious to see if the mock would appear in any way here. I don't think it does. I think that's just something that you would have to do beforehand, and I think what you'd have is you'd have a pull request, and the pull request could be used to run those unit tests, because that's basically what it is, okay? So yeah, that's exactly what I thought would happen, but down below here it says the mock block is not supported. So I wonder what you would do. So if you can't have mocks in the file, what would you do locally? Because you need to, I guess the thing is that the mock file, the sentinel.htcl file would not be in this folder. So you might have the sentinel.htcl file in your main repository for mocking, right? And if you committed it, wouldn't run it because the policy set would actually be in another repository. So I think that's how it's supposed to work. So yeah, I think really we want to have policy sets in their own repository, like completely away from there, because we're running into a lot of problems. But we pretty much accomplished what we wanted to do with Sentinel, more than I thought we were going to do. So that's pretty great. So there you go. In terms of this, we probably want to tear this down. We do need to do something with Vault and stuff like that. But I think that what we'll do is just tear this down, and you know, if we need to bring it back up, we'll do that. So I'm going to go to destruction here, and we're going to go ahead and just destroy the plan here. Okay. And we're all now in good shape. And so, yeah, I'll see you in the next part, okay? But we're all done here for Sentinel. All right, actually, I guess we're not gone here just yet because it looks like our destroy run failed because we didn't pass here. So that is a bit of a problem. So we'll have to go to the variables. I guess it's a good edge case to know about, but we'll go back and change this to a micro, even though it's going to just tear it down anyway, you know? So we'll go and type in micro, save variable, and we'll go back to our runs. We'll start a new plan. Or sorry, we'll go to settings here, destruction, queue the plan. I'm just curious, queuing a plan will redirect a new output here. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to type in VCS Terraform again here. Okay, and so this should work. And I will come back and just confirm this with you, okay? So I'll be back here in a second. All right, so the real reason we can't get rid of this is because we have those darn mocks in there. So what I'm going to do is go over to our Sentinel file here, up to, I mean, we don't use this one, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. That's not even something that's going to happen. And we need to update our HCL file here. Okay. And I'm assuming that this supports this, okay? Because this is not how we should be doing this. And here we go, git add git commit -m. Minor change. Okay, and this is going to trigger a run here. But I really want to do destroy. So we'll just give it a moment there to start so we can kill it. Did I not push? Oh, maybe I didn't push. And we'll go back here. There's that run. I'm going to go in here. I want to stop it. Cancel run. Okay. And so now what I'll do is go over to the here. Destroy this. We'll run that. Okay. We'll destroy that. And I will, again, see if this is working, and I'll see you back here in a moment, okay? All right, and so I just wanted to confirm there that everything is destroyed, so we're all in good shape, okay? So, yeah, so we're actually done in Sentinel now, for real, okay? Bye.